Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at a 2-pack of Conehead Seekers, Ramjet and Dirge from the Transformers Earthrise War for Cybertron trilogy. Now this 2-pack was an Amazon exclusive. It was announced at a Fan First Friday probably about a month or so ago and already released by Amazon. So there is another 2-pack later on coming of Ironhide and Prowl that I believe is next month sometime. But the artwork is really nice. If you got this from Amazon, you probably don't know because they just slapped shipping labels right on the front of the box and shipped it out like this. Not any other packaging. Didn't put this inside anything. Just slapped a shipping label right on the front of this and sent it out. I gotta say, that's an all-new low for Amazon, I feel like. Not since the days of the Power Sword from TRU have I seen something that lame. But at least that was bigger, and it made a little bit more sense to me because it's harder to find a box. This should easily be, it's not huge. It should be easy to put in a box and ship out, but whatever, Amazon. Anyway, I was able to get all the shipping labels off so you can take a look at this artwork, which I think is really cool. You can see it's Ramjet and Dirge attacking near the Ark, and you can see Thrust over here very off in the distance since he is not in the box. And these are 2 Voyager class figures. You can still see Galvatron floating in space up here. Not too much going on down there. And then over here you have that kind of standard artwork for Earthrise, which I think is pretty cool. Taking a look on the back, you can see Ramjet and Dirge. The transformation is going to be very similar to the other Seekers, but with some subtle differences, which we'll see. But I think they look pretty great. I'm very excited for this 2-pack. So without further ado, I'm going to get these guys out of the box, and we're going to take a closer look. So here are the 2 robots out of the packaging, and for the most part, I think they look really good. I think the black is really dark. I would have kind of preferred it to be more of like a gunmetal gray color. But overall, I think it looks good. Head sculpt is looking pretty good. And one thing I do want to point out, they did a good job with the cone heads. They're very kind of cartoon screen accurate. If I remember, the original Classics toys had these, the way they transformed, this comes up over like this, and then you just turned this 180 and saw the head. So if you'll notice here, there's kind of 2 cones because you don't have the cone of the jet actually be the cone head like the original toy and like the original Classics toy. So that's kind of interesting. But I think it does make for a better head sculpt. I think this is definitely more screen accurate and just overall looks better. So I do applaud that. Articulation wise, they're really exactly the same as the other Seekers, but heads on a ball joint, so side to side, back and forth there. You have the shoulder swivel as well as the hinge. You have the bicep swivel. You have elbow, probably just slightly over 90 degrees there. Hand does not move. Waist swivel. No waist swivel, but we do have typical hinges and swivels here in the hip. And then you have a thigh swivel. And then you have the knee is weird. So how this works, this is meant to open up, and then this pegs into these crazy giant kneecaps they have. I don't know why they have such huge kneecaps. But you still get the 90 degrees in the knee like that. But you just kind of have to be careful because when you go to turn it, the kind of natural inclination is to unhook that, and then it just kind of gets wild and gets loose. So you want to make sure that those knees stay pegged in, and then you actually move the knee joint. It's just because the knee joints are tight. I think over time they'll loosen up. But you can lift up the little skirt there too if you need to move the legs so they don't get in the way. He has the kind of null ray cannons on the arm. You can see the wings hanging out in the back down here. If you want, I think sometimes in the cartoon they would have their wings all the way out to the side. If you want to continue that look, you certainly can. I kind of like to tuck them back just for, spacing. But whichever way you like to display, you can go for it. So there's Ramjet. Again, Dirge, very nice. Like the paint down here on the kneecaps. He's got a little bit of paint, but not nearly as much as he does. Otherwise, you can see the paint applications are pretty similar. You have some nice Decepticon symbols there on the wings. Even nicer on that side. Let's see, what do his wings have? Oh, he does have it. It kind of blends in, but you can see it down there. And then, again, even better on this side, which we'll see more in the vehicle mode. But then again, the black's okay, but the black with the dark blue, it's just a lot of dark coloring. I would have liked it to be a little bit lighter, just a shade or so lighter. But again, great head sculpt, and he's like screaming, which is fantastic. I love that. Got a little bit of paint here on the tips. So overall, really good. Great articulation. 2 quality Voyager figures. So really well done. When I go through the transformation, I think I'm just going to transform one of them because they transform exactly the same. I mean, yes, the wings are slightly different, but they transform pretty much the same. So I'm going to transform Dirge, and then we'll see both of them in vehicle mode. So real quick before transformation, I forgot to show off the ankle tilt. I feel like you guys probably just know about the ankle tilt by now, right? I mean, ever since Siege, it's become a staple of these lines. So of course there's ankle tilt. But anyway, what I was going to say is if you've transformed any of the other Seekers, it's very, very, very similar. So I'm just going to go ahead and start by taking off these guns, and we'll come back to them in a little bit later. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly just because, like I said, it's 90% the same, and I'll point out the parts that are different. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to open this up, and then flip up the fist, and then this piece has to kind of feed in through this hole, so you kind of bring that down like so, click that in, click that down till it pegs in, fold up the hand, repeat the same over here, lift this up, flip this up, this piece slides through to there, closes up, pegs into place, leave that up. Then you're going to take the nose cone and bring that over the head and click that into place. Then you're going to unpeg these clips on the side here, which I feel like it's not super hard, but it's slightly difficult just to make sure you don't break anything. Bring that back. This is going to shoot up, rotate, click into place back here like so. Then you're going to bring the arms down, fold them into place like so, and then close this up. And for some reason on mine, they don't want to like snap closed immediately, so you just kind of have to push everything into place. I don't know why. Oops, I'm grabbing the skirt. You can see how like it doesn't necessarily catch right away, and Ramjet was kind of the same way, and I don't really know why, but just kind of push it closed and it'll get there. It's not a problem with anything not lining up, it's just, I don't know, it's not snapping in right away. Come down here, you're going to fold up the toes, close these up. You're going to open up the whole, I guess, shin panel. I like to fold these down at this point just to kind of get them out of the way. You're going to want to, I think it's easier if you peg them in first, and then they kind of collapse down, and then there's these 2 long tabs right here, and they're going to peg in right there and there. So you just accordion these down, and these should peg in. Push these down, there we go. There we go. Now, first major difference. With the other Seekers, you used to lift this up, push these down, and then put this on top. But because the the shin pads, the knee pads, whatever you want to call them, I guess they're knee pads, they're so long, you have to leave the skirt down and just push these over top. And they just kind of sit like that, which I don't love because it doesn't really close up as much as I feel like it should. But you certainly can't do it the other way because it won't fit, as you can see. So really your only option is to leave this down and then just kind of close these up as best you can. And it's not tragic, but I don't know. I just don't really care for that. Next, you're going to do this thing where these kind of swivel all around, but with the other Seekers, because it was the wing, you used to just kind of bring the whole thing down and peg it in like that. Well, because of the way these work, this is actually going to stay in the same configuration, but this is going to come down, and then you're just going to kind of do this. And Ramjet's is a little bit more difficult to kind of clear the little tabs and stuff, but you can get it done. And then there you go. There is the full jet mode. Then you just bring those guns back and peg them in underneath, like so. Now, unfortunately, it would appear, because of the way these are painted, that mine's a little caked on. So basically, from what I can tell, these wings are 100% painted. You can see the actual color inside, and Ramjets are the same way. And unfortunately, I don't know if this is painted or just they didn't carve it out correctly, but you can see how this hole is much smaller, so I'm going to have some fun trying to figure that out. I guess in the meantime I can peg them in under here, or you could use this spot, or however you want to do it, but I'm just going to put these on the arm for now, and I'll worry about it later. This actually doesn't look too bad, so I'll just go with that. But you're meant to peg them in here, but unfortunately mine is a little either not carved out correctly or the paint is a little too caked on, so maybe I can fix that with an X-Acto knife or something or make it work. But there is the fully transformed Dirge. So here they are both in jet form. I think they look great. I think Ramjet looks really good. Thinking back to the original Classics toy, I know he had a lot more red paint here in the middle section, but I think this is definitely more original toy and cartoon accurate, so I'm okay with this. I think it looks pretty good. Although I did notice I was taking a look at these, and there's a small little bit of red paint missing here on this like connection port for the weapon, and then on Dirge it's literally the same one. So the underside of both of their right wings. Now if you're looking at it here, it's obviously the left, but if you're looking at them from the jet, so I guess stage right on the jet, I don't know. In any case, it's the same wing on both sides. Obviously this one just having a little bit of paint missing is not a big deal. This one has too much paint. Now I know I could, if I took some sandpaper, maybe an X-Acto knife or something, you just have to shave around because basically just too much of the paint got inside and then dried, and that's why it's too thick. But I was playing with it, and I can get this in like a little bit so it'll kind of hold. Just can't peg in as much as it should, but I can work on that. I think that's just a random QC problem. I don't think it's going to be prevalent with everyone. At least I hope it's not. I think that's just mine. Overall, though, I still think they look great. I really do. I feel like he needs the jets up here. I know that he probably doesn't have it, but for some reason, it just feels like it's missing. I really like Ramjet with the look of his, but I don't know. I have to go back and look. I never had the original Dirge. I have to go back and look at my Classics Dirge. But I feel like it's just too flat in this area. But overall, I think the wings are cool. I think they did a great job. The color schemes are nice. And I think both jet modes are solid. Now, because they have these things, they kind of naturally want to rock backwards. At least Ramjet does more so than Dirge. Maybe the extra weight, I'm not sure. But they don't have landing gear, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. But they're still cool. I like both of them. Very happy to add these guys to the collection. So at the end of the day, 2 more excellent Seekers to add to your collection. A couple of small things, though. I do wish that this black was more of just like a gunmetal gray or just a little bit lighter shade of gray. I just think, especially with the dark blue, I just think it's too much dark. It works better over here with Ramjet because the black, the white, and the red go well together. But I still wish it was just a dark gray instead of black. Minor nitpick. I don't remember if the giant knee pads are like a character design thing from the original show. I'm assuming they are, because otherwise why would they do it? I don't particularly, they don't bother me, but at the same time in transformation, you can't tuck them under this skirt anymore, so they just have to sit on top, and it just looks a little weird to me, a little out of place. So I don't love that. It's a minor nitpick, but I prefer the normal legs for the original Seekers, because then you could kind of tuck it underneath. The null ray cannons are fine. The wings look good. I do love the idea of just giving us a normal head sculpt that can all fit inside the nose cone instead of using the actual nose cone of the jet as the head. The way the original toy did it back in the day, it was like this entire piece just over top with a tiny little robot head at the bottom, and it looked ridiculous. The way that the Classics line did it, they had you kind of get to that point, and then the swivel was higher up, and then you kind of rotated it, and it worked out. I thought it looked good, but I think this is a much better way of doing this with just having a nice completely sculpted head that's in perfect proportion and looks like the cartoon. I think that's the way to go. Love the facial expressions on both of these guys, by the way, in case I haven't said that yet. But yeah, overall I think they're 2 good figures. They're not perfect, but I think they're definite improvements over the original Classics. Even just kind of the added articulation with the ankle tilt and some other things going on. Upscaling them from Voyagers from Deluxe, I think, was the way to go as well. So if you have the original Classics, I still recommend picking these up because I think there's enough better there's not as much better, like going from the original 3 Seekers from Deluxe to Voyager I think is a slam dunk, and I think that was definitely the way to go. These I think still have enough better than the Deluxes that it's worth picking them up. I just think they work better as Voyagers, and I love the new head sculpts. For me, I think that's enough. We're going to have to get Thrust at some point. I think I heard tell of him being a Target exclusive, which would make sense because he's red. So we'll see how that goes. Also, there's going to be a G2 redeco of Ramjet as Sandstorm, which is an exclusive, I think, coming out in February. So there's definitely going to be some more cone heads coming our way. So excited for that. Overall, they're good figures. I have 1 or 2 little paint mishaps, especially the one down here in the connection port on the wing. But I think if I get some sandpaper out, I could fix that and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So I wouldn't let that stand in the way of picking these up. Plus, I'm hoping it's not a prevalent problem. I hope mine's just kind of a one-off. And honestly, at the end of the day, I'm probably going to display them mostly in robot mode, and there's no problem in robot mode, so shouldn't be that big of a deal. But definitely recommend picking these up. They were Amazon exclusive. I think they still are, so I would definitely check there if you're trying to pick them up. $59.99, just the price of 2 Voyagers, since that's what you're getting. So definitely check Amazon. Hopefully, if they don't have them, they'll be getting more in. I pre-ordered, so it was a while ago. I don't know what the status of them as far as being in stock or not is currently, but yeah, definitely pick these guys up, and hopefully if you do, Amazon won't just put that shipping label right on the front of the box for you. Hopefully they'll put it in some kind of packaging. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.